We're going to jump into the word today here in a moment, but obviously, you are obviously aware, it is Christmas is upon us, and trees have gone up, and some of you put your tree up in September, but trees are up, lights are up, Christmas is, gifts are being bought, and caroling plans are being made, and we are fully in this season. Now, if you're a follower of Jesus in the room today, which I would believe many of you are, this is not just another Christmas thing for us, not just another holiday for us. We are celebrating this thing called Advent. There's two massive Christendom calendar things. Advent is the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas. Lent is the 4 Sundays leading up to Easter. There's these two huge historic calendar times that we have as a follower of Jesus. So right now we're in Advent, the 4 Sundays leading to Christmas. Now, again, if you're a follower of Jesus, it's not just another eggnog season and caroling season and buy the gifts and hopefully you get the ones that you want. We are celebrating when God became a man. And I know you know that, but I think we rarely spend time to pause and think on what we're actually celebrating. God put on flesh. I always find it fascinating with people that don't believe in the miracles of Jesus, but they believe in his incarnation. If you can wrap your mind around God becoming a human, why is it hard to believe the Red Sea was split? If you can wrap your mind around God becoming a human, why is it hard to believe that he fed the children of Israel for 40 years? This is the miracle. This is the first position of belief, that we believe that God became a human, that we now celebrate as this thing called Christmas. So today, the next 3 weeks today, next Sunday, and then obviously Candlelight, we're going to spend the next 3 Sundays talking about the Christmas story. And as I do every year, I try to do different texts and angles. So every year is a different idea. This year, what I want to do is I want to read the first 17 verses of Matthew. And I want to read, hi, Sasha, good to see you. You moved back. Hi, good to see you. Okay, back to the Bible. I want to read the genealogy of Jesus. Yeah, I know. You all skip it. Every time you get to the Bible, it's Matthew 2, right? I think there's text in the Bible, when it comes to lineages and genealogies and who brought what, all the Chronicles and Samuels and Kings, there's just lists of so-and-so brought this, and this tribe brought this, and this tribe got this land, and this river and that river and this mountain. Unfortunately, we just skip so much of the details that you and I think literally don't matter to us. And for many of us, let's just be honest, if you're reading through the book of Matthew, you're skipping Matthew 1. You read it and you're like, for what reason? Why does it matter? I can't pronounce half the names anyway. And you just go straight to Matthew 2. I want to show you how significant Matthew chapter 1, the genealogy of Jesus is. So we're going to read the whole thing together. Stay with me. Do not fall asleep. If any of the ladies are pregnant, I offer you some names and some considerations. Matthew 1, verse 1. This is the record of the ancestors of Jesus the Messiah, a descendant of David and of Abraham. Here we go. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers. Judah was the father of Perez and Zerah, twins, mother of Tamar. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Amminadab. There's a name for you. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Boaz was the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of King David. David was the father of Solomon, whose mother was Bathsheba, the widow of Uriah. Solomon was the father of Rehoboam. There you go. Rehoboam was the father of Abijah. Abijah was the father of Asa. Asa was the father of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat was the father of Jehoram. Jehoram was the father of Uzziah. Uzziah was the father of Jotham. Jotham was the father of Hazah. Hazah was the father of Hezekiah. Hezekiah was the father of Manasseh. We're almost done. Stay with me. This matters. Manasseh was the father of Amon. Amon was the father of Josiah. Josiah was the father of Jehoiakim and his brothers, born at the time of exile to Babylon. After the Babylon exile, Jehoiakim was the father of Shealtiel. Shealtiel was the father of Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel was the father of Abiud. Abiud was the father of Elohim. Elohim was the father of Azor. Azor was the father of Zadok. Zadok was the father of Akin. Akin was the father of Eliad. Eliad was the father of Eleazar. Eleazar was the father of Mathan. Mathan was the father of Jacob. Here we go. We're almost done. One verse. Jacob was the father of Joseph. Joseph was the husband of Mary. And Mary gave birth to Jesus, who was called the Messiah. Verse 17, the end of the genealogy. All those listed above include 14 generations from Abraham to David, 14 from David to the exile, and 14 from the exile to the Messiah. This is how Matthew opens. Who cares? Right? Like you read these names, like what does that mean to me? Now, what is fascinating in the world of academia, there's an entire scholarship area called textual criticism. These people that get PhDs in textual criticism are not pursuing the Bible from a theological standpoint or a biblical standpoint. They literally get degrees on studying the text, the papyri, the ink, how it was written, in what language, and what metaphors, how would that have came across in the ancient world. Like they get to these fascinating degrees in what's called textual criticism. When you study some of these authors and scholars about textual criticism, one massive thing that's come up as of late in the last 50 years is how expensive it would have been to write the Bible, which we do not think about at all. Scholars believe, textual critics believe, that to write the book of Matthew would have cost between $20,000 and $30,000. In our time, $20,000, $30,000 for you to go write the book of Matthew. Why? Do you know how expensive ink is in the ancient world? To get enough ink to write this many words. Do you know how expensive papyri is? Do you know how much it is to get a whole scroll enough to write the book of Matthew? Do you know how generous somebody would have had to been to give money to get the book of Matthew? Matthew's not wealthy. That means he would have had to gone to a business and been like, I need 30 grand. For what? So I can write down these letters. It's like, all right. We forget the historicity side of the Bible on what you hold, not just from a theological standpoint, from a textual standpoint. Why does all this matter, Andrew? Because you think a man that only has so much ink and so much papyri would waste any of it on details that don't matter? He doesn't have a publisher saying, you're a bit short on your word count. Can you add some? He doesn't have a production manager saying, you know what, the intro's a bit off. Can you write a better intro? You think a man who only has so much ink and so much papyri is wasting almost an entire chapter on details you don't need? Of course, God, through Matthew, wants him to start with 17 straight verses with ink that matters. Area on the papyri that matters. And he starts with what? The genealogy. And we skip it. Think it doesn't matter. I think it's boring. I want to show you three things today that the genealogy of Jesus, as Matthew opens his gospel, is shouting to you and I. Number one is this. I want you to see genealogies in the ancient world. They're not just ancestry of old, right? It's not Ancestry.com. It's not 23andMe, and we just need to figure out who's who. Genealogies in the ancient world are resumes. It is when you walk up to somewhere, and that's why the movie Troy or Game of Thrones or Knight's Tale or any ancient movie that you like, Vikings, any ancient movie that you like, that's where they start with, hello, my name is, I'm son of. That's how they introduce themselves. Because your last name is more important than the character you have. You can be an evil person, but if you have the right last name, you can walk up to a restaurant or a night's gathering or anything, go, hey, I'm son of, and they go, oh, welcome. Your last name, your lineage is not just where you came from. It is your resume into the ancient world, or it's your shame that you have to bear. Now, many of you, if you're raised not in America, you were most likely raised, because most Indian, Africa, and Asia still work this way, shame and honor culture. What you do affects your family name. America is so individual that when you make a decision, you think of how it affects you. The ancient world thought, if I do this, what happens to my family name? How does this affect my ancestors? My mother, my father, I had my kids below me. It was such a resume builder that you would only add the names to your lineage that you wanted people to know. It's a historical fact and tradition that King Herod, who tried to kill Jesus, deleted the majority of his lineage and genealogy. We cannot find it. He burned the papers because he was so embarrassed about his family heritage. He deleted it from history. We cannot find them. Which that was like a rule of Rome. Emperors had to write down their lineage. He burned it all. So, who you add to your lineage, names matter greatly. And look at the list that you and I get. I'm going to show you 4 of them specifically, because unless you were raised in church, you didn't blink an eye when I read them. So let me just fill in some gaps for you as your living commentary. Let me help you understand what we just read. I'm going to show you 4. We can do more. I'll show you 4. Look at verse 3. Judah was the father of Perez and Zerah. Those are twins. Whose mother was Tamar. If you aren't a church kid, let me fill you in. Genesis 28. A little girl named Tamar marries Judah's son. She cannot have kids with the son, and so she goes, I need children to stay in this lineage. So she gets her father-in-law, being Judah, drunk, and she dresses up like a prostitute. Go read your Bible. It's better than any show you have. And sleeps with Judah and gets pregnant to solidify her name in the papyri. Not a good person. Tamar. Guess who makes it into Jesus' history? Hey, by the way, remember Judah had them twins? Where'd them twins come from? Tamar. Jesus, if I'm Jesus' like editor, can we just not say that? Could you imagine Matthew writing and the Holy Spirit goes, put Tamar in there. Lord, you know, yeah, put Tamar in the list. Just a few more. Verse 5. Solomon was the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Do you know who Rahab is? Joshua 3:4, all the church people are like, uh-huh. Everyone else is like, what's uh-huh? What do you mean? Who's uh-huh? You know who Rahab is? She's a literal prostitute. Not metaphorically. Literally a lady of the night. Who decides to be on God's team and saves the spies in Joshua, and God says, you are now righteous, welcome to my family. The prostitute makes it in. Matthew, let's not. There's no whiteout, remember? There is no writing, oh, never mind. Waste of ink and waste of space. You have to remember every dot of that ink, every centimeter of that papyrus was chosen to put what? Tamar and Rahab in the list. Next, Rahab, and then was Boaz, the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Now, you probably don't know this, but Israelites, back in the Old Testament, always went to war with Moab. That was their biggest enemy. They always were trying to kill Moab off the earth. Do you know who's from Moab or is a Moabite? Ruth. So the Jews reading Matthew 1 are reading about somebody they were told to hate. Ruth made it? Yeah, the Moabite woman? Yeah, that's in Jesus' lineage. Just one more. David, the father of Solomon, whose mother was Bathsheba. Do you remember who Bathsheba is? The Bible says that David sends his entire army to war. He stays back, which, by the way, that was like a king do not do. Like kings always took their armies to war. He stays back, and he's out on his terrace eating grapes and drinking wine, and he sees a naked woman in a bath whose name is Bathsheba. Come on, the Bible's funny. He sees this woman taking a bath lower down. He goes, that's mine. I would like that. And the servant goes, she's married. He goes, I don't care. Who's she married to? Uriah? Have Uriah go to the front of the lines and have him killed. He sleeps with Bathsheba, gets her pregnant, kills her husband. He does not just commit adultery and murder, and then lies to the nation about it, saying, he was a very sad day and Uriah died, but I will take care of Bathsheba because I'm a good man. And Solomon, the great man of wisdom, comes from that. And Matthew puts it in the lineage of Jesus. What am I trying to tell you? Simply this. Number one, the first thing I want you to see from the lineage of Jesus is that glory can come from a mess. Glory, perfection, righteousness. Do you see the list of all the names? And then we get to verse 17 saying, and Jesus was born of Mary. What? After the list of those names, After the list of all of that unrighteousness, Jesus came from that? Absolutely. Why? Because our God is so good. Our God is so amazing that even in the middle of a mess, furthermore, even in the middle of family dysfunction, and you think your uncle has some stuff and your aunt so-and-so and your dad's, you don't have a Tamar. Maybe you do. Maybe you have some prostitutes in your family. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have some men that have done evil things. I don't know. But I don't know about you, but when I read this list, when I finish the genealogy of Jesus, hope starts to rise. God, if you can bring Jesus from that, if you can navigate that kind of mess, if you can navigate that kind of dysfunction, if you can navigate that kind of immoral people, God, how much more can you look at my life? How much more can you look at my mess and go, oh, you have no idea what I can make from those kind of people? What I'm simply trying to submit to you today is you've ran out of excuses. You have ran out of excuses on why God can't use you. I'm removing your excuse today. Well, you know, have you seen? Yep, and guess what? Jesus still came from a Tamar, came from a Ruth, came from a Moabite woman. I'm removing today, friend. You have no idea you were coming to church today and you're getting something taken from you. I'm removing every excuse you have. Well, you know, Jesus doesn't use people like me. I think he does. God doesn't involve himself in families like that. I think he does. I'm too far gone. I don't think you are. I've screwed up too much. More than a prostitute? More than someone who's one of the most immoral breathing humans on the planet. And God goes, I choose this person as righteous. She's not going to join my family. Friends, if God can use the Tamars and the Ruths and the Rahabs and how much more should you read the genealogy and hope should start filling your soul? And faith should start filling your soul. So this is what you and I do around Christmas time, or even reading the Bible. Let me park here for a moment. Stay with me. Is we enjoy removing the humanity of the text to find the divinity of it. I'll say it this way. We always remove the fingerprints moment of the Bible. And we try to remove the human sides of the text as fast as we can to find the divine moments of the text. Friends, it is in the human moments. It is in the humanity text that you find the divinity. We need to stop dismissing the human side of the Bible. Fred, Christmas is what? God became a human. You understand this, right? I'll just give you some historical context. Jesus, where he was born in Bethlehem, they spoke Aramaic there. They did not speak Greek or Hebrew. So Jesus, most likely, historians say, would have been bullied every day because he had an accent. Those that spoke Aramaic, that language had an accent. Most likely, Jesus would have been bullied every day because of how the language he spoke. He did not speak Greek. He spoke Aramaic. It's like Old English, New English. Like, oh, you speak the lower language, you don't speak Greek. No, Jesus spoke Aramaic. The Bible in Matthew and Luke, after it says that Jesus got left at the temple for 3 days, and Joseph is named, have you noticed in the rest of the whole Gospels, Joseph is never named again. Do you know why? Because most historians say that he died when Jesus was 12 or 13. Jesus was raised by a single mom. A poor single mom. If you keep erasing the humanity from Jesus' life, you'll keep doing it to yourself. If you keep erasing the human side of yourself, where'd you get that from? It's because you do it to Jesus. We need a renewal of the humanity side of Jesus. You ever see old paintings of Jesus? Apparently he's Swiss. Apparently we serve Swedish Jesus. Blonde hair and blue eyes and perfect skin, and he's using Kiehl's every day and his face is perfect. And friend, he's a brown man from the Middle East. He's a Middle Eastern Jew. He's not from Scandinavia. He's not from Switzerland. He's a Middle Eastern man. And mind you, what did Jesus do for a living? Have you seen all the photos of Jesus, how perfect his hands are? I'm serious. How manicured his hands are? Because the painters had a hard time giving Jesus human features. Do you have any friends that are carpenters or work with metal? Their hands are busted up. Scars and, calluses. Jesus did not have manicured, soft, Upper East Side preppy hands. Jesus was a working man with probably scars all over his hands. And I submit to you theologically that Jesus' earthly job was a prophetic symbolism of his heavenly job. What do you do with a carpenter? Give him nothing and watch him make something. Give a person that works with metal a sheet of metal and watch them create beauty. That's what Jesus did literally, and that's what he does spiritually with you and I. We give him our life that looks like nothing, and he's able to work it, hammer it, cut it, chisel it, work it. He's able to make something out of nothing. We need a renewal of our understanding of the human side of Jesus. Jesus, my friend, left me, and it hurts. So did mine. His name was Judas. Jesus, no one believes in who I am. Neither did they with me. If you don't believe in the human side of Jesus, your prayers will always be hindered because you think you're talking to somebody who does not know. What I'm trying to get you to see when you read this text is that God is able to take glory from a mess and make something from it. The second thing I'm trying to get you to see the verse 17? It's a weird detail. It says from 14 generations from Abraham to David, 14 generations from David to exile, 14 generations from exile to Joseph. What's with the 14s? Why is it not 6? Why is it not 9? Why in the world is Matthew wasting ink and papyrus to let us know it's 14 generations? Well, ancient Jews, numeric theology was a massive deal to them. Massive. Numbers 1 through 12 all held significance. Number 1 is number of God, singularity. 2 is unity. 3 is Trinity. 4 is supreme. 5 is grace. 6 is man. 7 is perfection. 8 is new beginnings. 10 is authority. 11 really doesn't mean much in the biblical context. And 12 means government. So every time in the Bible that you read it's 6 water jars, that's for a reason. Every time there's 7 people there, it's for a reason. Numerical theology matters a lot to the ancient world. So why is he wanting us to know 14, 14, 14? Now, all my math friends, what is 14 times 3? 42. Okay? Why is Matthew wanting us to know about 42 generations? Well, how many 6s go into 42? 6. Jesus is the 7th, starting over the 42. Let me explain that. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. So when the Bible gives reference to Jesus being the beginning of the 42 or the 7th generation, it's saying he's now completed what man could not. Jesus is the 7th of the 7. In other words, this is so important. The way that Matthew starts this book is from a place of completion, not a place of go do. In other words, the gospel is good news. It is not good advice. What do I mean by that? Advice, when you hear it, is they have advice. Go do this. Go accomplish this. Advice is, if you have to go do this, here's some advice while you go do it. News is something you hear that's already done. So Matthew does not start with advice. He starts with news. And what is the news? The number of man, number 6, is over. Man's effort is over. I'm here, and I'm the number 7th generation to be the 7th completion, and now you can live from utter rest with me. You should, in this moment, be hearing Genesis 1, 2, and 3 clicking in your mind. How does the Genesis 1 and 2 go? By the seventh day, what? God does what on the seventh day? Rest. Man was made on the sixth day. That's what the number of six, the number of man, because man was made on the sixth day. So think about this. When Adam and Eve were made, they wake up on the sixth day, and God goes, welcome to the seventh day. What do we do? You sit and rest of what I've done. We just got here. What can we do? Nothing. I've already done it. Come rest in my work. And then you can, on the first day of the week, now you can work from rest. You can't work for rest. You have to work from rest. In other words, this, honestly, I know this is funny. Christmas morning, when you look at that tree and the gifts that are there or not there, I want you to take the deepest breath and go, I don't have to make it to God. He made it to me. I don't have to, this day is the reminder, I don't have to work anymore. I can receive the rest now and live from rest. I'm not mincing words. I'm not splitting hairs. That changes how you serve Jesus greatly. So in other words, are you just busying yourself to earn rest? Is that what you give and you serve and go to church and help the lady across the street and tithe? And God, do I get rest now? Or are you working from rest? It's a huge difference on the motive in which that you're doing things. He's wanting us to know with these 14 generations, it's completed. This is news. This has been done. You don't have to go do anything. You receive what I just said. And now from Matthew 2 on, it's about a bunch of doing. But notice how it starts. This is news. It's already happened. Receive it. And he's the seventh of seven. He is the beginning of the state of rest. The last thing I want you to see is as you're reading it, you're probably thinking, if you're a Jew in the ancient world, and you should think it now, is how long did God take to fulfill his promise? Generation after generation after generation, and then a few more, and then a few more. Because remember, go back to Abraham, in Genesis 12. God told Abraham he was going to do this. Abraham just didn't know it would be like 5,000 years from now. Last thing I want you to see in this amazing genealogy story is God may take his time, but he will keep his word. God may take his time, but he will keep his word. Even if it takes 42 generations later, God did what he said. But this is what happens for you and I, is we let our calendars and time frame dictate how we see God's character. If you write a date on the calendar, if I'm not married by 28, if I don't have kids by 33, if I don't make this kind of money by 41, if I can't retire by 55, I'm praying that we write our little stuff out. It's good for you. Write it out. Just write it in pencil. And then what happens is God's late, and we reconsider his love for us. Or God's early, and we reconsider our trust with him. Have you noticed that so much of your literal calendar and time frame makes you think about God a certain type of way? As if when you started following Jesus, he signed up for your calendar. As if when you started following Jesus, he signed up with your 10-year plan. There's not one verse in all the Bible where Jesus says, where do you want to go today? It all says, and they followed him. I'm pretty sure Matthew had some plans. David had some. I'm sure all the people that believed in God had some plans. Just God ruined them all. God will take his time. He takes his time, but he is faithful to his word. So how many of you in the room in this season of your life right now that think if God hits your time frame, he's better? He's good. He's faithful. And if he doesn't, he's unloving, you're unseen, and he doesn't know. Simply because of time? How long did they have to wait? A long time. See, you and I, we are so American. We are so westernized in how we think. Being what? We are so individualized. We forget that we serve a God of generations. Generations. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There's a bunch in between there, but he's a generational God. So if God doesn't do it while you're alive, is he unfaithful? If God doesn't do what he said while you're alive, is God a liar? Is he unfaithful? Is he untrustworthy? What if he does it 200 years from now? Is that good enough for you? Well, no, because right now, these seconds, this moment, TikTok, Instagram, do it right now. God's like, I don't live in seconds, I live in seasons. Come join me. Zoom out a bit and look what right now, we go, God, you're nowhere. He's like, zoom out. Look what I've been doing for the last 500 years. Oh, God, you've been faithful. Yeah, get out of your little moment. Get out of your little nanosecond. And look what I've been doing for 1,000 generations. Look how faithful I've been, and I've moved the chess pieces here and done this. We get so zoomed in that if God doesn't do it during Abraham, he didn't do it. No, he's a generational, slow-moving God. But good news, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He is faithful to his word. He cannot lie. He's a man that cannot lie. But you just might not like 42 generations later. You might not like 7 generations later. Friends, we skip the genealogy of Jesus because it's boring and means nothing. Oh, it's one of the most important stories in the whole New Testament. Those little 17 verses mean so much to you and I. It's during this Christmas season. I know it's cliche. I know I'm supposed to say it because I'm a pastor, but for real. Zoom out from the gifts and the caroling and Aunt so-and-so getting drunk again and she's going to ruin the party and cousin so-and-so is going to be there and hope dad doesn't make some political comment because we can't handle it and hope mom doesn't bring up that dad. Like, I hope, right? Like, zoom out a bit and remind yourself what we are celebrating. That God put flesh on and dwelt among us and walked around and lived the human experience. Please, I'm challenging you to make Christmas human again. Think of the textile. Look at John 1. We held them, we touched him, we ate with him, we laughed. Like, think of all the language. Like, no, we touched him. We ate with him, we laughed with him, we slept next to him, we traveled with him, we ate. He's a human. Let us stop erasing the human side of our earth because we're looking for the divine moments. Maybe it's in the very human moments, the very textile moments, that the divine is screaming at you. While you're watching your 4-year-old scream about opening the gift, think of God being excited about you. While you watch your 9-year-old hope to God the box is what she wants, think of the hope that God is like. Look at the human interactions and see God in it. Stop erasing the human side of God and see the divine in the very ordinary names of the genealogy of Jesus. Merry Christmas. You have a God that wrapped himself in flesh and dwelt among us and tabernacled among us. This should change everything for us. This should change. Right now, we're about to go into time of worship. This should change how you worship. This should change how you lift your hands. Because I'm not thinking of some distant deity or some power or some force that's off in the cosmos zipping through the universe. I'm lifting my hands and I'm lifting my voice to a God that did not just shout words across the universe. He came down and lived amongst us. I'm not just thinking about some God that said words. I'm thinking of a God that said, I'm coming down and I'm going to put flesh on and live amongst you guys and experience sorrow and pain and hurt and submit myself. That's the God that we've come to worship today.